all of us would have been under terrible pressure to be here, just to be able to cope with all the noise and stink and death. But another edge that I want to bring to this, if I may, so that viewers actually realise why some people might desert. How about this as figures then? These are absolutely credited figures. About 200,000 of these soldiers were 16 or under, that is to say, you know, in one of the armies. About 100,000 were 15 or under, 300 were 13 and under, and 25 were under 10. So, of course, this is terribly distressing when you hear these sorts of figures and you realise what you're up against.
And, of course, they would have been recruited, some of them as drummer boys, as buglers, as musicians. Suddenly they're in the thick of the ebb and flow of the battle. And
then just the noise and everything would be so distressing. Now, I have to say, actually, I haven't got formal evidence that on this bridge, which crosses March Creek, that, in fact, these deaths did take place. It's rumoured. But what I do know is that is legion of information of people who've been there and claim to see misty figures and all sorts of things going on. It's a beautiful, peaceful spot, but you can quite see that at night it might be quite ominous, so I can understand what people might think it. It was certainly used for fleeing troops away.
Now, am I right in thinking that at this stage in history, medical history,
yeah,
in the mid-19th century, 1863, they didn't really have any awareness of battle fatigue, of shell shock? They didn't really understand combat fatigue?
Get on with it. You know, that was the view, wasn't it? And while some people, you know, we know certainly from the First World War, there was lots of talk about tramps wandering about. And of course these are people in a dreadful state and drink and this sort of thing as well. By the way, before they arrived here for the punch-up, just in case they did for Gettysburg, some punch-up, they moved all the whiskey out of the area. That's a smart move, isn't it?
As a way of controlling the troops,
yeah,
to stop them losing control.
Imagine having 160,000 drunken men. That would be fab, wouldn't it, if there was enough to go around? So very brightly, they shifted all the booze out of the area, just in case. Nobody thought they necessarily would come here, you know, because they were crossing the Mason-Dixon line. But come they did, the battle took place, and it was appalling.
What is astonishing walking around Gettysburg, and we've been lucky enough to spend a few days here now, is how rolling the land is. And you realise if somebody's at the crest of a hill, the challenge to the bravery of people who've got to run up a hill into artillery, into rifle fire, into bayonets, whatever possessed them to do that, they must both have believed, both sides believing they were fighting with God and right on their side.
Well, they did, and of course some of the people who were fighting are quite surprising. Students, I found a fighting professor, and he was a professor of rhetoric and modern languages, and he was involved very heavily in the battle scenes as well. So there's some extraordinary characters coming out, and it's exhausting and distressing, and certainly whilst we've moved around from place to place, there's endless boards, you know, around reminding you of the deaths that could have taken place there and that did take place there.
Thank you for the moment, Leslie Smith, our academic and historian. We also want to hear from you. We have been hearing from you throughout the whole show, for which we are very grateful. Here with the updates on all things interactive, Julian Clegg. Julian.
Thanks, Paul, and it's a very early Good Morning America, and you are getting interactive in style on our special here in Gettysburg. Thank you so much for all your comments. I'll tell you how to get in touch in a few moments' time. Here's some interesting comments too, because Jennifer from Mountjoy in Pennsylvania says, I spent 2 nights at the Farnsworth House, which is where we are tonight, and I heard footsteps in the dead of the night as the grandfather clock chimed. Very eerie, says Jennifer. Thank you for that message. Michelle in Tucson, Arizona says, I hope to have a paranormal experience with you all again. For the past few years, every time I've watched Most Haunted live, I've encountered paranormal activity in my own home. Interesting. Michelle, thank you. April in Canton, Georgia says, Jenny's sister feels like no one remembers her. And interesting, she says, if you stand in front of the door, the inside door, you can feel the residue of the bullet hitting, and it happened to her, to April, when she actually visited the house. And Amberly in Indiana says, please watch out for the door slamming in the Jenny Wade kitchen. The door has freaked me out all night, she says. And let's go to the webcams, interestingly, because it's interesting to hear what you've been saying about the webcams. Webcam 1, Farnsworth House, Sarah's bedroom. Let's have a look at that first. There you can see the bed. Psykid says at the head of the bed it looks like a soldier is crouched down. Psykid, thank you. Tiny Heart on the text says there was a girl standing at the foot of the bed. Did anyone else catch that? Well, if you did, let me know. I'll give you the details on how to get in touch in a few moments' time. Webcam 2, which is the Farnsworth House attic here in the building, top floor. Michaela says she's from Port Angeles in Washington, by the way. There was a dark head that popped out of the side of the frame, and then it was gone mysteriously. That's what she spotted on the webcam. Let's go to webcam 3, Shriver House, the saloon there. And Amy in Canton, Georgia says, I saw one of the chairs pull out and back in. Also, white mist go across the room there. Moto51 on the text said, in the saloon, the chair right behind the rope moved just a bit, made me jump out of my chair. Thanks for that. Webcam 5, the Dobbin House kitchen. Josh in Indiana, it seems as though there's someone behind the door on camera 5. They look like a slender small child or a young woman. And Georgiana in Massachusetts says, I saw what appeared to be a mist that flew from the stairway to the top right. And finally, for the moment on the webcams, webcam 8, the Jenny Wade house bedroom. Steve in West Virginia says the clock on camera 8 is going totally crazy. And Abby in Michigan says, I can see the clock hands moving very, very fast. Something is going on there. Now let's move on to your psychic art. America, once again, you've been amazing with your drawings and you're sensing the spirits haunting the various locations here in Gettysburg. Let's just look at a few of them. I can't show them all, but just a sample here. I believe Michael showed me this vision of himself, says Brett in Illinois. I love Most Haunted Live. Thank you very much for that one. Here's one from Lucas. This image came to me as I was watching Most Haunted Live. I saw this female or a little girl who appeared to be sad about something. I don't know who she is or why she is sad, but I have a feeling she's in the house tonight. Here's an interesting one from Jeff Ritzman in Maryland. Thank you, Jeff, for that one. And this one, Rex Hubbard is the name I'm getting. He's looking in the distance and is saying, Lord, have mercy on us all. Elaine in Pennsylvania, thank you very much. And one more on the psychic art. I see this man looking at me. I believe his name starts with an A or ends with a B. Great drawings. Thank you very much for all those. Keep them coming. This is how you get in touch. You can text me with your sightings, with your chats and your messages. Here's the instruction, boo, then a space, then cam to 99799. Your carrier's standard message rates apply on that. The website is where the webcams is, the interactive map, and where our chat rooms are, so you can talk about the show tonight. travelchannel.com/mosthaunted. And the fax number for your psychic art, here it is, 1-877-873-0644. And I leave you for the moment from interactive with a couple of messages here. Matthew in Gettysburg, right here, thank you Matthew, says, when I was around 12 years old, I was with my mum and sister at Sachs Bridge. We had a very similar experience that Yvette had. However, our experience was worse. Interesting. And Scott in Texas says, I feel like you're doing a good thing there in Gettysburg tonight, but I have a feeling that something bad is about to happen. I wonder. More from interactive later. Paul, back to you.
Thank you, Julian. Let's hope Scott's not right, because all evening I've been anticipating with some trepidation the arrival of Yvette Fielding and the team at Little Round Top Farm. They are there now, and we are going to join them after this. Welcome back to Most Haunted Live from Gettysburg, where 145 years ago 11,000 men died in the greatest battle fought on American soil. At the moment, Yvette Fielding and the team have reconvened in the woods at Little Round Top Farm, one of the decisive locations for this amazing battle, and we can join them now there for the very first time after we find out a little more about the history of this amazing site.
When the Wickett family built their farmhouse on the eastern slope of Little Round Top, they had little idea that their home would play such a prominent role in the Battle of Gettysburg. Little Round Top, the smaller of two rocky hills approximately 2 miles south of the town, marks the unsuccessful assault by Confederate troops against the Union left flank on the second day of the battle, July the 2nd, 1863. The 20th Maine Volunteer Infantry Regiment, commanded by Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, fought the most famous engagement here, culminating in a dramatic downhill bayonet charge that is one of the most well-known actions of the period. The fighting was extremely fierce, and both sides fought valiantly. Almost 8,000 men clashed together, with the Union Army taking almost 600 casualties, whilst the Confederate losses were over 1,000. Small wonder then there are so many reports of ghostly apparitions of uniformed men seen amongst the trees, and claims of eerie sounds of battle heard drifting down the slopes.
Immense courage, ferocious savagery. If any site tonight has a tale to tell, it must be Little Round Top Farm, and that is where Yvette Fielding and the team are right now, in the woods, right near Little Round Top Farm. Let's go there now live. Yvette.
Hi, Paul. We are here. What a complete change from all the other locations that we've been to and investigated. We're here in the woods, sat around a very smoky fire, may I say. So if we start coughing, that's the reason why.
Look, Kieran's keeping vigil.
Kieran's keeping vigil. He's got his night vision scope